All right, welcome in. I'm the Kodiak, and today I'm here to talk about Justin Fields being sent to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a 2025 conditional sixth round pick. But before we get into it, leave a like if you enjoy it or subscribe. I will be making NFL videos this whole offseason, and let's get right into it. So, I was initially surprised that the compensation was so low. What I had to remind myself is that Ryan Poles must have massively overplayed his hand because for the past uh, 4 days, whenever there's been, shuffling due to NFL free agency, everybody was always like, where's Justin Fields going to go? What's next for Fields? And of all the teams that were looking for quarterbacks this offseason, you had Las Vegas, you had Pittsburgh, you had Denver still in the process of probably looking for another one besides Stidham, but Minnesota is up there. And then obviously you have the teams that are going to be in the mix to draft someone. You also had guys like Kirk Cousins go to the Falcons, so they resolved their quarterback position. But it seems like Ryan Poles massively overplayed their hand because teams know that they're drafting Caleb Williams, and teams know that Caleb Williams is going to be the first overall pick, and this pretty much solidifies that they ain't sticking with Fields. I didn't know what direction they were going to go this offseason, but what I was pretty confident in is that Justin Fields was not going to be the quarterback of the Chicago Bears in 2024. And it still could be someone other than Caleb Williams. It still could be Drake May. If they trade back a few picks, maybe they're not in love with either May or Williams and they go back a few picks for Daniels. But I don't know. Those odds are few and far between. There's a non-zero chance, but odds are still pretty slim. Regardless, as far as Justin Fields and why the compensation was so low, when you are 3 years into your NFL career and you only have a handful of good games on your resume, this is who you are. Like, we have a big enough sample to where we can genuinely say that Justin Fields is not a good quarterback. And I got absolutely ripped to shreds in my video a month ago where I said that Justin Fields was not a good quarterback and that he was bad and that he still needed some development if he was going to stick around in the NFL. Now, this was probably a good spot for Justin Fields to go to, even though the compensation is so low to the point where this regime has no ties to Justin Fields. So get that out of your head immediately. If you think Fields is automatically going to be the Steelers QB of the future, he will get the opportunity, I'm certain. I'm not certain Russ plays a full 17 next year, but Russ is going to be the starter. As a Broncos fan who has had to watch Russell Wilson deliver painful offensive performances over the past 2 years, he is still, in my mind, 110%. Even if he's washed, he is still 110% better than Justin Fields. Like, not even a question. And I think this is a good move for Pittsburgh because he cost you basically nothing. And again, Chicago basically massively overplayed their hand. They had no way to get actual value from him. I know that people were saying they were going to get a second. I know people saying that they were going to get a third. Guess what? He got pretty much sent away for the same price as Desmond Ridder did to Arizona. So I don't know. That is something that I don't think NFL fans were prepared for. I don't think that was something that Justin Fields fans were prepared for. But regardless, I hope he can revitalize his career. I do think he's a good dude. And as somebody who's paid close attention to the Bears, particularly in the last 2 years or so, I'm a huge fan. And I want him to succeed. I think he has all the tools and all the makings athletically of what you want your next NFL quarterback to be. He had a great connection with DJ Moore. Hopefully he can recapture some of that magic in Pittsburgh. And hopefully they can lean on a run game of Najee and Warren to alleviate some of the heat off him if he does get in there. And no matter what happens, no matter how untalented the Steelers roster is, that team is perpetually poised to go 9-8, no matter the circumstances of the team. But regardless, I could see Fields being a Mike Tomlin reclamation project. I could see him being groomed to be, the Russell Wilson successor. Even if Russell Wilson is only there for about a year, maybe they're going to try to dial back the clock on Fields' career and do a Mahomes, Alex Smith thing. Because in today's NFL, I think that we should reevaluate how teams go about the quarterback position and how they develop guys. Because you think about Patrick Mahomes and Alex Smith. I think about guys like Jordan Love, who just sat there for 2 to 3 years on a roster. And yeah, he played a game or two, but he never really got thrown into the fire. And this is something that I'm interested to see how it goes, because I'm pretty certain that we have a big enough sample on Justin Fields to call it what he is, at least now, and what his value is to an NFL team is now. And the only reason anyone was actually genuinely excited or thinking that he was a good NFL quarterback was because of fantasy football. Yeah, he puts up great numbers in fantasy football, but for an actual NFL team, one of the worst record-wise starters in the league over the past few years. So he won enough games to get the Bears the first overall pick last year, which they then traded to Carolina, and now they're going to cash in on the fact that they have the first overall pick from the Carolina Panthers. But yeah, that is basically my thoughts about Justin Fields being traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. When he does get in the game, again, I think the Steelers are going to have to rely on a solid run game. And Warren, a guy like Warren, who I genuinely think is a top 10 back in the NFL already, he's going to see his efficiency spike with a guy like Fields because teams are going to have to account for Fields' rushing ability. And, this happens with Lamar too, where if you have to account for a rushing quarterback along with a very good running back, that running back's going to put in very, very efficient numbers. So yeah, I hope he can rekindle some of that magic with George Pickens. I hope whatever wide receiver the Steelers end up drafting, because they're not going into the year with just George Pickens and Calvin Austin. I hope that he can find a connection. I hope he can develop his career. And I hope he makes me look like an asshole for saying on this channel a month ago that he was bad, that he was a bad quarterback, and definitely not worth the haul that the Steelers were, or that the Bears were going to get for him. And guess what? The NFL seemed to agree with me. I mean, he's a pick swap, but I want him to succeed. I want him to develop. This is a great move for all parties. And yeah, so that does it for me, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.